I call them shoes. I call them shoes.
Welcome to MsMojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 most surprising DreamWorks voice acting performances.
It's all my fault. Oh no. I'm not not really, but still my brother.
For this list, we'll be looking at some of the biggest names in Hollywood who you wouldn't expect to have lent their voice to a DreamWorks animated film. Let us know whose casting shocked you the most in the comments. Number 10, Tobey Maguire as adult Tim Templeton, the Boss Baby. Alec Baldwin is easily recognizable as the voice of the titular Boss Baby, but a voice from this film that you may not immediately register is that of the film's narrator.
You see, I was 7 years old, and back then, you relied on your imagination. When I wasn't exploring the Congo, I was a deep sea diver.
Tobey Maguire, one of the first actors to swing onto the big screen as Spider-Man, narrates the Boss Baby as adult Tim, the older brother of Boss Baby.
One thing was clear. He was the boss. He had everyone wrapped around his chubby little finger. Everyone except me.
Although Maguire is not known for his animation work, his soothing voice perfectly sets up the story of Tim, a 7-year-old boy whose imagination runs wild when he has to share his parents with his new baby brother. Maguire has such a good voice for narrating that we're honestly astonished we haven't heard him in more roles like this.
Is that a true story, Daddy?
Well, sweetie, that's how I remember it. But you know what I found out?
What?
There's plenty of love for everyone.
Even me?
Especially you.
Number 9, America Ferrera as Astrid, How to Train Your Dragon. From Ugly Betty to Viking Vixen, it may stun you to learn that America Ferrera has spent nearly a decade voicing blonde-haired warrior Astrid Hofferson in the How to Train Your Dragon franchise.
All right, I admit it. This is pretty cool. It's amazing. He's amazing.
The first film came out around the same time that Ugly Betty was ending, and Astrid is starkly different from that of the upbeat and warm Betty Suarez.
I hope I get some serious burns.
I'm hoping for some mauling, like on my shoulder or lower back.
Yeah, it's only fun if you get a scar out of it.
Of course, Astrid does evolve throughout the film, and Ferrera is the perfect actress to bring such depth and life to the fierce and sassy character.
The dragon's nest! The thing we've been after since Vikings first sailed here, and you want to keep it a secret? To protect your pet dragon? Are you serious?
Number 8, Sylvester Stallone as Weaver, Ants. You may know him as Rocky or Rambo, but in 1998, Sylvester Stallone took a step out of his seeming comfort zone by voicing a character named Weaver in Ants.
Do you know how much trouble you can get into for even talking about impersonating a soldier? You can get in trouble just for listening to someone talking about impersonating a soldier.
The film, which follows a worker ant as he tries to win over the ant princess and save his fellow worker population, was Stallone's first crack at lending his voice to an animated movie.
Nobody told me digging was so much fun. You pick the dirt up, you move it, you pick it up again, you move it again. Lots of reps, you exercise the arms and the thorax.
And while you wouldn't expect to see the action star play something as tiny as an ant, his character, a soldier ant looking for love, surprisingly looks a lot like him.
Weaver, they're career girls. They're obsessed with digging. I really don't think I'm ever gonna meet the right girl for me.
Who said there was a girl for you? I was talking about a girl for me.
Number 7, Matt Damon as Spirit, Stallion of the Cimarron. Matt Damon has had a long and successful career, but he's only starred in a handful of animated movies. In between the releases of Ocean's 11 and The Bourne Identity, Damon's voice could be heard as Spirit, a Kiger Mustang stallion in the film Spirit, Stallion of the Cimarron.
And so I grew from colt to stallion, as wild and reckless as thunder over the land, racing with the eagle, soaring with the wind, flying. There were times I believed I could.
Of course, this isn't your average talking horse role. Damon is the voice of the inner dialogue of the animal, sharing the horse's heartfelt story, which involves being captured by the US cavalry during the American Indian Wars. It's not your typical Matt Damon film, but it works.
But that goodbye was harder than I ever imagined. I'll never forget that boy. And how we won back our freedom together.
Number 6, Brad Pitt as Sinbad. Sinbad, Legend of the Seven Seas. Sinbad, Legend of the Seven Seas was a major flop for DreamWorks, reportedly causing the studio to lose $125 million. So you may be shocked to discover that the main character, a pirate looking for one more adventure before retiring, is voiced by none other than Hollywood A-lister Brad Pitt.
I'm sorry about that. I don't suppose a heartfelt apology would do.
Heartfelt? From you? Sinbad, you don't have a heart.
Animated movies certainly aren't the first thing to come to mind when you think of Pitt, and the actor's charm and humor as the suave thief wasn't enough to stop this film from sinking.
I did my best. Wasn't enough.
No. You came back anyway.
Unfortunately, he couldn't even help save the day as superhero Metro Man in Megamind a few years later. That film also flopped at the box office and is considered one of DreamWorks' lowest-grossing CG flicks of the decade it came out in.
Weaving lyrical magic. Check this out. I have eyes that can see right through lead.
Number 5, Ryan Reynolds as Guy, The Croods.
I'm Guy.
Guy?
And this is Belt, cook, conversationalist, navigator. Also, keeps my pants up.
He may now be best known as the Merc with a Mouth in the Deadpool franchise, but before taking on the very R-rated role, Ryan Reynolds lent his voice to Guy in the family-friendly film The Croods.
I'm Guy. This is Belt, cook, conversationalist, navigator. He also keeps my pants up.
Guy, just like Reynolds, is a handsome, funny, and likable character who befriends teenage cave girl Eep Crude and wins over her wacky but lovable Neanderthal family. And 2013 seems to have been the year of animation for Reynolds because he not only made his animated film debut in The Croods, but also lent his voice to an underdog snail in Turbo that same year.
On these streets, it's not about who you are or what you drive. All that matters is who's crossing the line first.
Number 4, Jack Black as Lenny, Shark Tale.
I'm here, Frankie.
Come closer.
Yes, what is it?
I'm so cold.
That's just because we're cold-blooded. Ow!
Moron.
If you had to associate Jack Black with an animated film, you'd probably say Kung Fu Panda. But before bringing the martial arts enthusiast Po to life on the big screen in 2008, Black voiced a great white shark named Lenny in 2004's Shark Tale. Now, great white sharks are typically portrayed as vicious animals, but not Lenny, who is so gentle that he even follows a vegetarian diet.
Okay, I will tell you. I'm a vegetarian.
What's really surprising is that Black reportedly beat out some pretty big names to play Lenny, like Leonardo DiCaprio, Jim Carrey, and George Clooney. After watching the film, most would probably agree that they can't imagine anyone other than Black voicing the character, though.
Wait, you mean you?
Yeah.
When the anchor? Oh, you're a liar.
Number 3, Martin Scorsese as Sykes, Shark Tale.
On top, there's Don Lino. There's me. And there's regular fish.
Oh, that's me.
No. There's plankton. There's single-cell amoebas.
Oh, then there's me.
I'm getting there. There's coral. There's rocks. There's whale poo. And then there's you.
If Jack Black's voice acting in Shark Tale didn't surprise you, maybe this one will. Famed film director Martin Scorsese, yes, the same man behind films like Taxi Driver and Goodfellas, voiced a pufferfish named Sykes in Shark Tale.
I'm gonna give you 24 hours to pay up.
All of it? How am I supposed to do that?
That's your problem. Bring my 5,000 clams to the racetrack tomorrow or else.
Or else what?
The boys will explain.
Scorsese has primarily remained behind the camera, with his DreamWorks film being the first and only animated movie he starred in. But directing his fair share of crime bosses surely helped him prepare for this role, as Sykes is an ex-henchman of Lenny's mob boss father, Don Lino.
You got it all wrong.
They're gonna write songs about you, kid. Oh, the shark bites.
Sykes.
With his teeth, dear.
Sing it, man, sing it.
And then Oscar
Sykes.
kicked his butt.
Sykes, man!
Number 2. Gary Oldman as Lord Shen, Kung Fu Panda 2. From Sirius Black in the Harry Potter franchise to Jim Gordon in Christopher Nolan's The Dark Knight trilogy, Gary Oldman has played some very interesting and even beloved characters. But the villain in Kung Fu Panda 2, that's certainly surprising. Oldman voices Lord Shen, a peacock bent on destroying all pandas and reclaiming the Gongmen City throne.
Yes, didn't you see the peacock on the front door? Ah, there you are, soothsayer. It seems your fortune-telling skills are not as good as you thought.
Kung Fu Panda 2 director Jennifer Yeo Nelson best describes Oldman in his role, quote, a deathly frightening cerebral villain. A peacock doesn't necessarily seem evil, but Oldman somehow manages to bring a darkness to an animal that is normally seen as bright and flamboyant.
Oh, yes, I had the wolf, didn't I? Find this panda and bring him to me.
Before we unveil our top pick, here are a few honorable mentions. John Hamm as Brogan, Shrek Forever After. An actor this good-looking couldn't possibly play an ogre.
Welcome to the Resistance.
Resistance?
We fight for freedom. And ogres everywhere!
Jake Gyllenhaal as Jim Prescott, Spirit Untamed. He also sings as the widower in this second installment of the Spirit franchise. Bryan Cranston as Li Shan, Kung Fu Panda 3. The same actor who played Walter White can't also be the voice of a cuddly panda, can he?
Son? Oh my gosh, it is you! Well, don't just stand there, give your old man a hug!
I can't believe you're alive.
John Krasinski as Lancelot, Shrek the Third. He was only just starting to become a household name when the movie came out.
Unhand me, monster!
Stop squirming, Arthur.
I'm not Arthur. I am Lancelot.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You'll have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications.
Number 1. Kate Winslet as Rita Malone, Flushed Away. Kate Winslet is an Academy Award, Emmy Award, and Golden Globe-winning actress. She even has a Grammy Award under her belt. Oh, and at some point over the years, she also voiced a rodent.
We're over Kensington!
Yeah, only a terrifying 900-foot drop between you and a nice, comfortable bed. Where's your house, then?
That's right, Winslet, who is famous for her portrayal of Rose DeWitt Bukater in Titanic, has also played one of those small brown scavengers. In Flushed Away, Winslet lends her voice to feisty Rita Malone, who has no problem taking care of herself.
How do I know this ain't just a load of old rubbish?
Well, I suppose you'll just have to trust me.
I must be out of my mind. All right, you got yourself a deal.
And while Winslet has played her fair share of strong female characters over the years, it's still funny and truly surprising to see a role like this on her impressive resume.
Impossible!
Oi! Hermit! The prize returns to me. You big fat slimy airbag!
Welcome to MsMojo. Welcome to MsMojo, a soldier ant looking for love, surprisingly looks in between the releases of Ocean's 11 and The Bourne Identity. He may now be best known as the Merc with the Mouth